Okay, good morning, everyone. We are about to start in 5 minutes. I see 47 people here. It's a pretty great number. I'm glad of it. And maybe I can, I see that some people ask me to join with the video. It's not possible because I would like you all get in with the video, but right now we are too many people, and I ask you to come in with the video just when you have a question or you need to screen share to show me your code. Maybe I'll ask you, you can reply in the session chat here on the right, how you feel confident with the Shiny and with packages. Because today's workshop won't explain what Shiny is or how to code with Shiny. And so maybe I want to know what is your level. Okay, I will do a screen sharing test. Oh, thank you for your replies. No, we will explain from scratch Golem and how to create a Golem package. Okay, thank you, Renaud. Okay. Almost everyone is.
Hi, Andrea. Good morning, everyone.
Hi, Ricardo. Yeah.
I will be here helping out a bit, Andrea. So I will also be monitoring a bit the session chat so that I can basically report maybe some small questions for which you don't want to maybe ask to share your screen or to be on camera. And I can report basically, I can be your voice for today for like small feedback, giving small feedback to Andrea. Which, of course, ideally we would like to have you all and see even your face, your reactions, but we try to do our best without that. Okay.
Okay. So you can share. You can see my screen share. Very good. Thank you, Ricardo. I think we can start. Okay, good morning. My name is Andrea Melloncelli. Presently I am a consultant with Vanlog, which I co-founded in January 2019. Vanlog consists of a team of data scientists with a strong focus on providing modern data-driven solutions. We believe in open source solutions, and in particular, we specialize in R. We provide a full range of training courses as well as full stack solution with our open source software automated with modern DevOps techniques. My primary role in this is code development, its deployment, its maintainability, and all the technical solutions. During the last 5 years, I produce proof of concepts, and I constantly worked with R and Shine in production environments. Production means the proof of concept has been accomplished. Okay, I have latency in the messages. Okay, production means the proof of concept has been accomplished, and it is the time to create value.
Andrea, are you
Yep.
supposed to be sharing now, or you are just introducing
No,
the? Okay,
just
perfect.
introducing.
Yeah. Okay, because
Thank you
they were
for.
asking. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, great. Thank you, Riccardo. Therefore, the day-to-day work of your clients rely on the robustness of your efforts and the speed by which you will fix the existing bugs. In this workshop, we are going to develop a simple Shiny application, was structured and ready to be installed on a Shiny server. I will screen share again. Okay. Okay. Here we are. Okay, this is, I think you all have this repository. Okay, I start from explaining how this work, the mode of this workshop. I divided the topic of this workshop in 3 parts, 1 hour each. During the first part, we will create a Shiny application embedded into a package with the Golem. In the second one, we will structure the content of our application using Shiny modules. Finally, in the last part, we will complete the application with a clear logging system and testing system. This is how it will work. I will start coding and doing things. You can try to code with me. Anyway, don't worry if you don't keep up. Just watch and listen to me in order to understand what I'm doing and especially why I'm doing it. After more or less half an hour, I will leave you the time to play around with it. And during this time, I will be here to answer your questions. Anyway, I will provide, and it is provided in here in the repository, the code, and you will decide if restarting from scratch and trying to redo all I have done so far, or start from a new from the point I've arrived to play around with that, or even move on. Don't worry, it is simple to redo. Also because you have the code, and it is important to listen and understand how things work. This is the repository. It's not structured as a usual GitHub repository because the master branch is only for data and this README, so only for documentation. Because it's, the main branch, it is the branch you see when you land on this GitHub page. Okay, so the first part of the README, which is our documentation, explain you how to set up for this project. I hope you already done it. If not, you will have time to do it. It's really 5-10 minutes of work. Okay, important is to understand how I decided to branch this repository. So I've just said that the master branch is useful only for the README, the doc folder, and the data folder. And then we have 4 stages. So the stage 0 is it is a brand new Golem project. So it's where we will start in 5 minutes. After the end of the first of the 3 parts, we should arrive at the stage 1, and at the end of the second, the stage 2, and at the end of the entire workshop, we will be at the stage 3. I will explain you how to change, just in case you don't know enough how to manage, how to deal with the Git. I will explain you how to move across these 4 branches. And then we have exercises. So each of the 3 parts are split in the first part, so coding together, and the training part, so the second half an hour. In this second half an hour, you can do these exercises. So these are exercises for the stage 0, so this first part, then the stage 1, and then exercises about stage 2. There is a wrong number here, but it is the last one. Okay, so this here it is stage 2. Okay, I'm reading on the chat if it is clear.
I'm just about to
GitHub?
I'm
Okay.
just about to paste it in, no worries. I do that.
Okay. Just done. Okay, thank you, Ricardo. Next time I leave it to you. Okay, let's go. Let's move on. Okay, we are. I set up the brand new Golem project for you, but I would like to show you how to create it from scratch. So don't do that simply, or do that if you want, but we won't use this repository, this project we are going to create. It's just to come to stage 0. Okay, let's start to talk about this important package, Golem. This package provides a fast way to embed your Shiny application into a package. So to start, you have to install the Golem package. I want to install it, but this is the procedure. Really easy. And then create a new project. Don't save for now. New directory. And here you find the package for Shiny application using Golem. This is a feature provided by the Golem package. In here, you will write your application name. For now, I will call it Vincent 2 because I will come back to my repository later, and where to create it. So create project. This is stage 0. Okay, so this stage here. Okay, stage 0. It's simply I created a new Golem project and I shared with you by GitHub. So let's come back to my repository. And okay, if you just created the repository cloning it, you are on the master branch. So now we move on the stage 0. I will remove these 2 folders just to make it empty and clearer? Okay, because those folders were of the master branch, and there were not tracked file inside it, but they are not useful right now. And then when you are at the stage 0, you create a new branch, stage 0 work in progress. And don't sync the with the remote, because in that case you have not writing permission on my repository. Okay, now we are ready to start. We are on a brand new Golem project. We have our branch dedicated to our exercises, and we can start. Okay. Okay. As you can see from the tab file, this is a package. You can recognize the namespace file, the description file, the inst, man, r folders, which are typical of a package. But there is something new. For example, this is the folder. Let's go inside and see what it contains. Those files are scripts and procedures to perform some preparation tasks. They are numbered. So let's start with the first one. This is a script with the goal to initialize the package. The first command is set up the description file. Filling in the title of the package, which can be tidy application description. This is a tidy application, and with the dot, because it's important, it is a sentence, and then with your name, surname, your email.
Andrea, just one thing. Can you maybe show again, just as in the where it is in our studio, the branch creation, because someone has missed it. Just to basically see where you can
Branch creation.
Create. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Ricardo. And thank you for the question. Here, okay, we are here in the Git tab. If you cloned the repository from and you have Git installed on your machine, it is in this position. Otherwise, you have some troubles with the Git. Maybe it's not installed or RStudio is not well configured. Here, to change the branch, you have to select stage 0 right now, and then new branch here. Uncheck this box, and you will write here stage 0 work in progress. So this is your branch, and just in case you mess it up, you can still switch to the stage 0, okay, and restart again. So for this, we are going to work on this working program branch. I hope it is clear now. Otherwise, just ask. And we were filling in the description file. In here, you can also add the URL of the repository. So https github.com vanlog Vincent. As you can see right now, everything is in this script. So if you don't keep up, don't worry, because it is written here. Okay. how many of us usually begin a new project and don't fill in the description file? From now on, we won't forget it anymore thanks to this script. Let's execute it. There is no package called column. Great. It's not that great. So there's something wrong with my configuration. Okay. Description must start with a capital letter. So it's warning. Okay. As you can see from the Git tab, this is what it has been just modified by the command. So if you look at the differences, okay, the title, the red color was how was the description file before my command, and the green is how it is after. So the title is the application, there is my name inside it, etc. So we just fill in the description file. There is something missing, like the license. We will move on and see how to fix it. Accept this change, and we will wait to commit later. This is to set Golem options. Just run it. We will use later its configuration. Here, you can choose to use a license file. If you don't like MIT file, MIT license, you can change less GPL license. Put in here your name. Wow. It has just created a license file. Then I would like to use an README file, but I don't want to use the RMD version. I want to use the plain Markdown version. Okay. As you can see, the README file is pre-filled in, so you already have some instructions in here. You can use it, you can change it as you wish, but from now on, you remember that it is important to create the README file at the beginning of the project. This R build ignore is changed because it is ignoring the license file. Okay, so when you create a new README file with that command, it also update the R build ignore in order to ignore the README file when you build the package. So we accept this modification. Ignore for now the RM folder. It shouldn't be there, but it is. Okay, then we can comment out these 3 lines because we are not going to use them, but you can refer to the manual to understand what they do. We already are using Git on this project because I had to share it with you with Git, so I created the Git repository in advance. But if you don't have it, if you don't have already initialized the Git repository, you can use this function. I suggest that you use the recommended test of column. So running it, as you can see, it creates the test folder, which simply do enable tests with test that library and insert some basic tests. Okay, let's move on. And let's accept all modification. And then we can add some Golem recommended dependencies. As you can see from difference here, it has been added, 3 packages has just been added. Attempt, glue, HTML2s, which are a good packages, so I think it's worth to add them. Okay. Then I don't want to change the favicon, but again, refer to the manual to understand what it is and how to deal with that. You can also do it during the training part of this first stage. Also, these two function creates a couple of files in the library with some important, some useful functionality. I won't use it. I don't want to use them right now because I think they can create confusion. But refer to the manual, and because they are very good. Okay. Now we are just configured the package. So it's a good time to create our first commit. The commit message here can be package, package initialization, Great. How do you feel so far?
Okay, good feedback for now.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ricardo. Now it's the time to create and to use a virtual environment. But what is a virtual environment? It is a set of packages in a specific version. And this set is dedicated to this project only. Therefore, installing or updating a package to a newer version won't affect the whole system, but instead it will be used by this project only. In order to do this, please install the RM package. We can write in here. Install is RM. I won't do it again. And then we initialize our repository to use the virtual environment. This function. I just want to see that it creates these folders. So I remove this folder. Okay, and now I execute the initialization. Okay, probably no such file or directory. Okay, there is no package called RM. I changed this morning my configuration to adapt it to the screen sharing capabilities of Hopin, and I have some issues now. Sorry, okay, I can do just a while. I think I can easily fix it. Okay. Retry. I delete again the RM folder. Just okay. Finger crossed. Okay, great. It is working. Let's see what it is doing. As you can see, it is reading our environment, the package, and understand what package we need for our project and which version is available. Okay. Now, okay, before I launched this function here, libpaths, and this is my home folder, and these are the library path where I usually install new packages at the user level, so for my user only, and where I read the packages when I do something like library golem. Okay. Right now that we have initialized our virtual environment, if I do here, the paths, okay, they are changed. And you see that my new library is inside the Vincent folder, which is the folder of my project. So the library now, it is inside and dedicated to this project only, okay, in this folder. This is a behavior similar to Packrat, and Packrat install the source files of the package and the binary version inside the library. Env do something different because it won't install the source of the package, and actually it is installing the package outside this folder and linking from inside the project to the external folder, which means that it is the same, but it can cache the installation. So if you use dplyr or last version with renv for a package, for the other package, when you try to install it, you will read install it from cache. Okay, and it uses less disk and less time. Okay, let's move on. Okay, as you can see from here, the Git tab, some files have been created. The log file contains the current R version and the list of packages used by the project with their respective version. So the package R6 is at this version. The package RCPP is at this version. On the other hand, this directory contains a git ignore, an activation script, an activation R script for the virtual environment, and a setting file for renv. But you may ask, how does this magic activation happen? So starting from an R directory, by default, the process searches for an .r profile file, which it has just been created. Okay, if it finds it, it will execute that file. And now the plot is set because this file, our .r profile, source the activation script. Okay, so every time you restart R from inside this, you see that it gives you this message, which is produced by the sourcing and the activation of the virtual environment. So at the point the plot is set, the log file is tracking all the packages we are using. But what you should know it is that there are two different types of packages. The first one are necessary for the execution of the application, like dplyr. The second one are only for development purposes, like DevTools, for example. It is recommended that you track only packages required by the application. In order to do so, we need to change settings.
Andrea, maybe
Yeah.
one thing which is worth mentioning, because people are asking, is in terms of the RM setup that was created with RM Vinit. There are, of course, in the RM folder, there is the DCF, there is the activate, and there is the library, of course. So maybe if you can comment a bit on what and why certain things should or should not be Git ignored.
Okay, so let's go and read git ignore. As you can see, it is ignoring a library folder, Python and staging. I don't think we already have them, but okay, let's
Yeah, this
go
is for more
inside RM
advanced
folder.
stuff. Yeah.
This is the library folder, which is ignored, so you don't find it in the Git tab. R 3.6 is the R version I am using right now. And these are all the installations of packages. We want to ignore them because we don't want to commit on Git all these folders. Okay, we want to recreate them every time, starting from the rm.log file. I will show you how in a while. Did I answer? If not,
maybe I can add just a comment. Basically, you need to have the DCF, which is a settings file, and the activate. In order for example, if other people want to restore the same setup, the activate would make sure that RM is active for the project. And the setting DCF stores the settings. Whereas the library is something that can be restored by RM restore. So normally you don't want to commit on Git something that can be restored easily or generated easily.
yes, thank you for your comment, Ricardo. It has been very useful. And so having those files committed in your Git allows you to execute the R profile and the activate script every time you clone the package. So we were talking about two different types of packages. The one necessary for the execution of the application like dplyr, and the other one for development purposes like DevTools. If you write here explicit, as you can see, we've just changed the settings. And what we changed is the snapshot type from implicit to explicit. But nothing has happened to the log file. So the log file is still tracking any file. What we are going to do now is renv env snapshot. Okay, this is a function that reads the environment and update the renv log file. Let's see if it is working. Okay, it is asking, should I bring those packages from this version to a null version? So actually delete them. Yes, because it's what we want. Okay. So let's see the differences. And okay, this is in the setting, we change only the snapshot type. We can accept this modification. And in RM, as you can see, DevTool has been removed, memoize, parse state, which are exactly DevTools, memoize, parse state, those packages. Okay. And the packages we are tracking now are the packages declared in the description file. So these packages with all their dependencies, of course. We want to recreate the whole environment. So we need these files and the dependencies. And we also are tracking the suggested packages. So if you, for example, want to track even the DevTools package, you can write it here and accept the RM block, and now see what happened. As you can see, it's trying to bring the DevTools from the null version to the 2.1 version. So it is actually installing the DevTools, writing the DevTools version into the log file. If we do so, we can see the differences, and voila, DevTools have been added, memoize, which is probably a DevTool dependency. But I don't want it.
Andrea, they are asking if you could make the console a bit taller, maybe by reducing the files pane of RStudio.
Sorry, the console.
The console, the R console, a bit taller, so that exactly, so that then they see the command, and yeah, I think that's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Riccardo. Okay, let's go back. So we don't want this, and you see that every time, okay, we accept the RM block file, and if we snapshot again, it does the reverse operation. So you can play around with it and learn how it works. Okay, the last thing is missing is the opposite operation. And the opposite operation of snapshot is the restoring the environment. So for this, we can use the restore function that reads the log file and installs the correct environment. So the opposite. At this point in time, it's saying that the library is already synchronized with the log file. Hopefully, it is what we have just done. Okay. We now want to save all the file with Git, and the commit message now can be rnv enabled. Okay, it's now the time to try our application. Therefore, let us go to the runenv file, runenv in the dev folder, rundev, sorry. Okay, you can highlight everything and execute it. This application is running correctly, but is still empty. But just for a while, let's go back to examine what instructions are written in this file. So this is an option which tells the program if it is running in production or in a development mode on RStudio. However, using this option in your code is up to you. Then it detaches all the libraries you have loaded in the workspace and uses only those you have declared in the description file. This is an important practice to test the application independently of packages loaded in the workspace, because it happens so frequently that you are working with your workspace with the tidyverse and many other packages loaded and running the application, everything works well. But when the application is on the server, without loading those libraries manually, it fails. For this reason, it's important to reset the workspace every time before running the application. Then it creates the Roxygen documentation and reloads the package. Finally, it runs the application. Summarizing, using this procedure to run the application allows you to run this application not in production mode and in a safe way, because it uses only the provided packages. It is now the time to create our application. In order to do this, let's discover where the server and the user interface files are. So we move into the library, or the R folder, and here we see these two files, app server and app user interface. Let us go inside it. As you can see, the user interface and the server are library functions. So this is the core of Golem. There is no more UI file, server file, global file, but there are a couple of functions in the library. Okay, but inside that functions, so the content is used in the same old way. So you can code Shiny as you did before. Okay, we are a bit late, but we have finished the stage 1. So if you have any question, is the time to ask. Otherwise, I will leave you with some exercises. Okay, I will give you some exercises if you wish to do, but during that time I will be here. So if some question comes in your mind, I will be glad to answer it. Okay, you can redo what I did so far. You can start from here. So here we are at the stage 1. Or you can redo it. Yes, tell me, Riccardo.
David, were asking if you could maybe re-summarize very high level the steps for this part. Basically, what you did to come to this stage 1.
Yeah, sure. Okay, let's start summarizing from the beginning. The first step was installing Golem. Okay, then we created a Golem package in this way. New project, new directory, Golem, name of the package, name of the folder. And then we had this package here with this dev folder. So now what we did is to initialize this package. So opening the first procedure, the 01 start.r, you can use this function to fill in the description file, set the column option, decide which license to use, if to use a README file in a plain Markdown or in RMD, decide what to use and what not to use. You are free to comment it out and not to use it. And then what we add to this script is the renv configuration. So it consists of those 3 lines. So initialization of the virtual environment, changing the setting if you wish, and snapshot the first virtual environment. We played around with the restore function, and so this way the package have been set up. Then we see where where are the user interface and server function, which are now in the library, so in the R folder, in 2 files, app user interface and app server.r. And the UI, which is this one, is inside this function library. The server function, you can recognize its arguments, is empty right now. Okay, but I think you can try to use your shiny knowledge to change this user application and the server and run it with rundev. I remind the rundev file is inside the dev folder, is this one. And to run the application, I let everything and execute it. I was already executing it. Okay, as you can see, the application is working but empty. Tell me if you have any other question. If not, or if you want to play around with it, you can start with the stage 0 exercises. So the exercise 1 is simply redo what I did so far, what I just summarized. You can move to stage 0. You should comment everything. In order to do this, okay, you should comment. I forgot to add this. And okay, when everything is committed and the Git changes is empty, you can change back to the stage 0, create a new branch like we did a while ago, stage 0 playground. Okay, and remember to unflag this one. So you can start from scratch, and you can redo it tens of times if you wish. But maybe there are more interesting exercises. For example, it's useful for the sake of the workshop if you try to install just an empty shiny dashboard into our application. So referring to this manual, which is the getting started of the shiny dashboard package, you can fill in the app user interface, maybe if you wish also the app server, and create an empty interface with an empty shiny dashboard. Okay, so it's a step ahead. Another exercise is to play around with renv. You can try to install okay, you can it is suggested to use this function to install packages with renv. I will explain it you later. You can compare this behavior with install package, but I think don't do this one. Is not so important. I prefer you do the installation of other packages, maybe the Shiny dashboard package, and do the snapshot. In this way, you update the virtual environment with this new package. And you can try to remove the package and to do snapshot, to restore. So play around with RM. This is up to you. It's, experience. Okay, if you need help or you have, okay, tell me, Riccardo.
Yeah. Just a question which I think is very relevant. Maybe just also summarize the advantages of this workflow, this approach. I think both in terms of Golem, but also in terms of using RM. Maybe again to stress the advantages of using RM for shared projects. And also, I think there was a question before which I tried to answer already about whether RM is something only relevant for let's say shared development or also for production. I sort of answered in the chat, but it's probably worth for you to bring this up for everyone. So the advantage of Golem workflow and RM as part of it, not just for development.
Sure. Thank you, Riccardo, and thank you for the person who asked this clever question. So let's split my explanation in parts. Using a package instead of Shiny application is useful also for production because you can install the application like you install a package. So it's not a copying operation, copy and paste files is not, I won't advise that because if some older files stay there, you end up with the not wanted configuration and something can crash. Instead, when you install a package, we are sure that the previous version is removed and it is installed. Also, a package cannot be installed if only its dependencies in the description file are available. Now we are on the stage 0. Maybe it's better to see the stage 1. Okay, all these dependencies have to be available to install this package. So it is a checking of dependencies. And again, I find very useful those procedure scripts because in this way I remember to do everything in order and I don't forget some operation anymore. And maybe I can change, for example, one of these operation can be required in a project and not in the other. Okay, I can choose if use this function or comment it. And what about RM? But imagine that you develop your application with a specific version of a package, let's say dplyr. And you install this package on the server, okay? And it works. But at a certain point, dplyr is updated and it's not compliant and compatible anymore with the previous version. So if you update the packages you have on your system, your application won't work anymore. And also, if you try to install the environment from scratch, you don't know what was the version of dplyr used by develop that package. And RM provides you a good way to track those versions and to restore easily and to snapshot also the versions very easily and in a fast way. This, I think, is enough to choose this way of operation.
I can actually bring my own experience. I mean, when I started doing things, I don't know if this is something common, but basically you develop your thing even on your own. So that's why RM it's not really just for collaboration. You develop the thing of on your own, and then you're ready to deploy it. Everything works beautiful. You have tested, checked your app beautifully on your setup. Then you deploy it to shinyapps.io, which is very easy, and then things don't work anymore. And what's the reason? You don't know, because if you don't know that you can have a setup for your development which is aligned to the setup of, let's say, the production environment, then you can have serious problems. You have basically zero confidence that things will work in production.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, there's another question. I was wondering how to configure the Golem to work with NPM packages like Sass, Babel, Post CSS modules, etc. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe you know a bit more, Andrea.
Me neither.
Because I think Golem is mainly a workflow for deploying package Shiny applications. So whatever else you would do for Shiny apps would be, I think, supported in the very same way.
Yeah. And if you need to use some JavaScript files, HTML, or other things, you will put them in this folder. Inst application app www, and here you can put JavaScript, just CSS files, etc. But okay, I didn't fully answer the npm packages, but I think Ricardo's comment was correct. As int, thanks for. Okay, I
think people are starting to try a bit around. So I think maybe we can be a bit there, a bit on demand to answer questions. I don't know what is the timing, Andrea. How much time we want to?
Yeah, we should restart. I think we can take some minutes to have a short break, and for those who want to continue to make exercises. The next part will be on Shiny modules and will be tough.
Okay, I think people are also starting to find a bit their way around, which is good, which is also the idea of getting you guys try a bit and things. It depends also a lot on how familiar you were already before with like packages, loading a package and running it in a, let's say, development mode. So it's good if you try out, and I'm very happy to see fail for me, and then now it's fixed because it means that you are basically finding your way around. That's great. Otherwise, write us in the chat, and if you have something more concrete in terms of issues or questions, we can support you. Okay. Andrea, are you still there? Maybe he's having a short break.
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay, sorry, yeah. They're asking to show the DCF file again.
Yeah.
Which in principle is something that you shouldn't edit manually. It's good to know what is in there, but basically it contains some basic setup of renv plus these special settings that was added with a function. So it's something that normally you don't edit manually.
The operation to edit, to change the setting is this one. Maybe you were asking just about this. No, Lorenzo is asking if RMV is always installing a new copy of packages. It install a package at a specific version. It puts it in a cache folder at user level. And then if the package, if your application needs to use that version, it will reuse it. And you will see playing around with these two functions here, the rm remove and rm install, installing and removing. If you remove a package and you reinstall it, the installation process is very quick because the package is cached.
I can also comment on this question from Daniel about implicit or explicit snapshot version. Actually, implicit, or let's put it like this, explicit is really meant for projects and packages, especially with a description file. Whereas implicit, it will take a snapshot of, I think, pretty much whatever you have installed in your system, regardless of whether your package that you are developing depends or in the description file lists those as dependencies. So it is important to have it explicit, again, in view of deploying, because when you want to deploy something, you want to really restrict to the set of dependencies that your package needs. Okay. So I'm going for a quick pit stop, Andrea, and then maybe we can change if you want to have if you also want to have a little break.
Okay, no. Go ahead. I will stay here to answer questions. Good question. Okay, so for the current exercise, we use Shiny Dashboard. Do we need to add it as a dependencies? Of course you have, and it would be good to track it with rm. I think we will start again with the second part in 5 minutes. So if you want to make a pause, it's the time. Okay, Riccardo, I think we can start again at 20 to 11. So in 4 minutes.
Yeah, I'll be monitoring the chat in any case. I'm here now, so if someone has
Okay.
other little doubts, I'm happy to support.
I will
Or
have
even
my short track.
major problems with some of the setup. Yeah. Okay. I tried. Yes, Lorenzo, that's a fair point. First of all, Lorenzo, when on which system are you? Which operating system? Is it? Uh-huh. Okay. On Windows, I'm not 100% sure how things work there, but so what RM does in general, it tries to keep to not really duplicate, but to use so-called links. So it means that they are not duplicated. They refer to a common central RM maintained installation library, which is also called a cache. We will actually see this in the afternoon about why caching is important. And they are just brought into the packages where they are needed. On Windows, maybe this is a little bit different. And another reason why I think they get downloaded is that RMV also keeps the source of the packages. And this is especially true for the Windows case, because for Windows you normally would install binaries from CRAN. Whereas with RMV you get these tar.gz files, which are the source packages. And the reason for this is that you can get binaries from CRAN only for the latest version of packages, whereas here we know that with RMV we may want to have frozen some of them. Okay, yes. Okay, so I can ask quickly to Ilaria, do I have to refer to Shiny Dashboard functions as Shiny Dashboard : So I think there are two big approaches to this. This is regardless of Shine, this is a package development question in general. So there are two main approaches. One is using package : function name, and the other is to use namespace tags. I don't know if you are familiar with Roxygen, you can say as a comment import from Shiny Dashboard, dashboard page in this case. And this would basically make dashboard page known to all functions inside a package. And this is also why it's important. You have seen that Andrea was showing this function golem document and reload, I think it was called. And document is actually taking care of processing all these import tags and making sure that the namespace file is there. So personally, from my point of view, I like to use the colon thing, especially when I am sort of in an early stage of using functions from other packages. So that I can very quickly say and be sure that I'm using Shiny Dashboard page from the Shiny Dashboard package. No, exactly. One of the key advantages, Patrick, is that so when you write a package and a Shiny app as part of a package, the server and UI function live inside the package. So they don't need to source anything because Shiny Dashboard will be known to the functions through the normal package mechanisms. So if you look at any package, they don't have any library statement for this reason, because it's not needed, and it is also sort of confusing. Okay. Exactly, Kestutis. It will be. I mean, loaded is a bit. It's maybe a bit of a tricky term, but it will be available through the dependencies. Yes. Okay. So, Mohammed, could you please describe the RM snapshot? Why miss all updates in each run? Okay, I'm not sure there. So a repo snapshot you would use when you have updated your dependencies, for example, and then it shouldn't be needed every time you do a run, like you restart your session or your project. So I'm not 100% sure. What do you mean by updates in each run? And I think Andrea would be almost ready to restart.
Okay, yes, I'm almost ready. I also don't understand what you are what you mean with each run, but whenever you install a new package, you want to write it in the log file. So you want to, in order to track it, you have to snapshot the current configuration of your virtual environment.
Yeah. And actually, to Kevin, maybe the last question to Kevin is: I think it's again important to stress a bit the why RM is important. It's exactly to answer the question of Kevin. I give it to you.
Yeah, we are sharing the snapshot. With the snapshot, I mean the log file. We are sharing it through GitHub. So if we go on GitHub and we choose to, for example, stage 1, we see that the rm.log file is here. So it's available from any person using this project. Yes, underscore are not allowed in packages name. You should switch to camel case. No, it's not by due to Golem, but it's due to how our packages works. They don't allow underscores. Okay, so no. We are ready to restart. Okay, I hope are back. And as we have many things to do, let us start quickly. Okay, it is now the time to put some content in our application. What we are going to do now is an application composed of 2 tabs, which I will. Yeah.
There is a slight echo, Andrea. I don't know if maybe you changed something in your mic or headset settings. It's not too disturbing, but it was a lot better before the. If you can try.
Okay, I try to.
Is it better, Riccardo?
It's still, I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not ideal. It was much cleaner before.
I don't know what is changed.
Okay, now there is quite some noise. Okay.
Again, still some noises.
It's not really noise. It's not terrible, actually.
Okay, because I'm afraid it could be the bandwidth, because I am in only the same configuration as well as I know.
It's okay. I think it's okay. Also, thanks Dimitro for your feedback. It's not disturbing me, but let us know if that's kind of difficult to follow.
Okay, so okay, okay, what we are going to do is an application composed of two tabs, which I will call pages because they fill the entire screen, using Shiny Dashboard. On the first page, the final user will upload a CSV file and we see the preview of that file. So pretty easy. The second page will perform a simple analysis on this data. And in order to keep our project tidy, we will use a Shiny module for each of those pages. And the data should be passed through these two modules. Okay, but let's start from the beginning and create an empty dashboard. Okay, you can, I don't know if you wish, if you feel confident with your code, but if not, go to the stage 1, new branch, and check this box and stage 1 work in progress. Okay, I close something. Okay, we need to reach the user interface. No, wait, we need to install the package. If you go in here and read the recipe how to install a package, I put this instruction in here. So every time you need a package, you should follow these 4 steps. We can work in here, the second procedure file.
One little hint, I found it out very recently, so I'm happy to share it. Actually, Golem provided some RStudio add-ins in the add-ins menu to get to this file directly. It's pretty cool. Under the add-ins menu.
Sorry, which file?
So if you go to add-ins at the top, there is a menu in RStudio. You can navigate to these files directly from there. It's pretty cool.
Whoa, great! Yeah, I didn't know that.
I think it's recent.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Riccardo. Okay. I usually do control dot and I search for my file itself, but okay, so these are the 4 steps to install a new package in this kind of environment. So the first step is, of course, installing the package. So renv install Shiny Dashboards. The install command of renv is optimized to try to use the dependencies it already has. So it optimized to work with renv. As you see, installing Shiny Dashboard, linked cache here means that I already have this package at this precise version, this exact version in my cache, and it's simply linked to that cache. So it's already installed. Easy. And then with use this, you can use the Shiny Dashboard package in this project. Okay, we have some differences in the description file. It simply add Shiny Dashboard into the imports packages. We accept this modification. Then third step, okay, until here, we have no changes in the log file. So this is the time where you use snapshot. Okay. As you can see, it is about to track Shiny dashboard at this version. Okay, it is downgrading those packages. I don't know actually why it is doing here, but I think stage 1 was different in my configuration. But the only operation it does in this case is this one. It's a problem that I changed with my stage 1, which were not consistent with the operation I did so far in this interactive workshop. Okay, it is the Vanlog file has been updated. Let's see at the differences. It does what you expect. It added Shiny dashboard. And then you remember that as Golem is using Roxygen, in order to fill with the correct instruction the namespace, you need to use the Golem comments. So let's go to the app user interface file. And in here, you should add at import Shiny dashboard. Accept this, and we can see what it does in a while. If we run document and reload, dependency of package data table is not available. Yeah, probably is some troubles due to. Let's install data table. We will need it shortly.
I think it's very good that you get to see also what this is something that you often get to when you develop something. You don't do things all the way from the very beginning, but R and R Studio and all these tools allow you to quickly know what is wrong and how you can fix it. So this was it.
Yeah.
And they're asking to change the UI changes again. And maybe then with a diff at some point.
Okay, so I installed this package and try to rerun the documentation. Now it worked, and you see that namespace file has changed. This is independent from Golem. It's typical of Roxygen and packages. Now, diff. Okay, it added Shiny dashboard to our namespace. So from now on, the Shiny dashboard package is used by our project. And we are importing all the function of this package. Okay, and what we can do now, okay, accepting all changes, so we can see what will change later. We can change the fluid page in here with dashboard page with a title. Let's call it Vincent. A dashboard header. A dashboard sidebar. Empty. And a dashboard body. This should be enough to have an empty Shiny dashboard. Okay, let's try to run this application. Okay, we got it. So what we want to do now is go ahead with the Shiny dashboard and add, for example, a new page, which is the Shiny dashboard tab. Sidebar. Okay, inside the sidebar, the dashboard sidebar, we add a sidebar menu. Sidebar menu. And inside it, a menu item, the label, data, tab name, data, the icon, then in the dashboard body, we can build this new page with items. Okay. Function tab items, which contains all the pages, and the tab item, and one tab item, the ID load data, which is the same in here. So this menu item will point our application to this specific page. And in here, we can put some HTML file. Just text and now. Let's run our code. Okay. New menu entry and a new page with some HTML inside it. Okay, therefore, let's start creating the first module with this procedure function. The module name is load data, because I remind you, the first tab will load a CSV file and will show its preview. Okay, let's accept all the changes and forget and create this new module. Stop every time Shiny, please. I always forget it. Okay. As you can see, this function creates this file here. This file is in the library, so in the R folder, and its name, it's load data with a prefix mod, which means module, of course, and inside it there are two functions. The UI function and the server function. As you can deduce, a Shiny module is a miniature Shiny application with its own user interface and server. So let's fill in this module, starting from the user interface. So what we want to create is a Shiny dashboard box with a title equals to, let's say, choose a CSV file input. Now the first and important change. Here you usually write the ID of the file input like this, file 1 without any label because we use the label of the box, and multiple file put to false. We want to load only one file, and we accept only CSV files. This is what you would usually do if you are in your UI.R file. But here you are in a module. So it's important to understand this concept that the ID have to be the result of an S, which stands for namespace, DNS function is necessary because a module can be reused, and every widget in the UI must have a unique identifier in the whole application. What this function does is simply to concatenate the identifier string of the module with the identifier string of the widget. And this way you achieve the uniqueness. We can show it better. It's very simple. And NS of file 1 is still a string that concatenates the name of the module and the name of the widget. In this way, the widget on the user interface will have a unique identifier. Let's move on. Remember this because otherwise nothing works and you get crazy trying to understand, trying to figure out what you did wrongly. Then another box with the full screen, let's say. 12 means the width of the container, so of the screen now. I thought equal to preview. Style. I want to add this style over flow X scroll because we are going to use a very wide data frame with many columns and they don't fill in the screen, so it's better to start in this way. Output again, namespace preview 1. Okay, remember this function. Let's try to see if it works. What do you think? I am pretty sure it won't work. And you realize why. Because we need to go back in the application user interface function and change this blah 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 with the module load data user interface load.
Andrea, a quick input from the audience. Try to maybe stay on the code when you do the changes a bit longer so that people can have the time to basically read it through a few seconds after we have finished typing. I think it's a fair comment for a virtual workshop. It makes it even more difficult to follow otherwise.
Great. Yeah, you are right.
Yeah, thanks, Ben, for pointing this out.
Thanks, Ben. And so I just wrap up to show what I just did. We created this module file. We added 2 boxes in the user interface of the module. Nothing changed in the user interface because in the application user interface, we didn't call the module. So we went to the application user interface, and in place of blah, 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 we called the load data user interface function with a unique string. So load data number 1. Okay, you can use any module once or many times. It's your choice. Okay, now retry to execute it. Let's execute it. Done. Okay, if you need to the dataset is here in the master branch, Vincent data row. We can use these 3 datasets, so COVID-19 wrong, COVID-19, and empty cars. So we can load one of these files, maybe empty cars, and nothing happened. Why? Because we have no server implementation. So let's go back to our module and implement the server part. If you are Shiny, we can create data 1 as a reactive value. This will be the reactive value that will contain the data frame loaded with the CSV. We want to use an observe statement that requires inputs file 1, but the temporary file loaded in the app. This is how file input works. And we require, and we fill data 1 with read CSV. We don't have this package. So we need read underscore CSV, which owns to the reader library. So we go in here and we do the same. I'm installing reader, link the cache again, use package. So the description has changed, adding this new package to the description file, and snapshot the environment. So also the RM log file will be updated. As you can see, it update reader and its dependency. Accept all modifications. And we come back to our code. So in module load data, where we're using read CSV to read the uploaded file. So in here, the argument is input $file1 $data. Okay, so we are reading this file, okay, and assigning to data 1. This is how reactive value are assigned with a new value.
Maybe Andrea, given that there was also a question before around this in the chat that I didn't report in the first part, maybe you can also mention now, so we are using read CSV now from the reader package. Maybe you can mention the two alternatives that we would have here to basically make sure that this function knows about read CSV, basically the oxygen tags versus this colon. Because now,
sorry, Riccardo, I didn't understand.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, tell me.
Yeah, no, sorry. So there was also a comment before about like using a shiny dashboard, I think colon something. In this case, we have a similar situation where we want to use a new function from one of our new package dependencies with CSV. So we have two options, either using readr colon or using the import from Roxygen comment.
Oh, yes, now I got it. It's
Yes.
a good question. Thank you, Riccardo, and the person who asked it. I use here data table because for a while, data table this function was provided also by the Shiny package. So in order to be sure to use this function from this package, I'm used to do this, but it's not necessary. You can do it if you if, for example, you need a package that have to be listed in the description file because the application needs this package, but it isn't listed in the namespace. So it is not listed in the Roxygen comments. And if maybe you need to access only once to a function, you can do this. Okay, but actually we could import also data table. And now to my code that I forgot, import it R. Okay. Okay. We were at this point. So we were after reading the uploaded file, put it in the data1. Yes, Dimitri, you're right. I can import only this function. I'm trying to simplify for the sake of the workshop, but your comment is correct. I could use only. I will show to everybody this function. I could have written here this way. So import only this function from this, and this is better. I didn't do it because of we have restriction in time, and maybe not everybody understand this detail. Okay, let's go ahead and fill in the preview. So preview output, preview one output, and we use and render data table. And simply we return the data one content. You know that reactive val is data one. The value contained in the data one is data one open close parentheses. This is an assignation, so new value, and this return the value contained in the reactive val. We could try it, but it won't work because we need to use this module. So In the same way, in the app user interface, we called the UI part of the module. We need now to call in the app server, okay, the server part. But the server part is not called directly as a function. So like this, add load data server something, okay, you will always call it in this way. Call module is provided by the Shiny package. It's mandatory to use this. Load data 1. This is the ID of the module. It still here, mandatory to have the same label, the same ID here and here. If this ID is the same, the two parts, so the user interface of the module, can communicate with its own server. So for example, a new module, load data 2, will have a call module with load data 2 ID. So the communication will be separate and independent. Now we are ready to try to run our application. And I'm just did nothing. Okay, we are still here. We open the run dev file and execute those lines. Great, we did it.
We are if you can go back to the module for a second, probably to have a closer look at the code, I think.
Let's see if it works. Really, but I tried. I put it in the session chat. It doesn't grab the new lines. Okay, so so far we what we did. Let's summarize it. We create this part, this page, into a module, as it was the usual a miniature Shiny interface with its own user interface and its own server function. And then we put this module into our application. On the user interface, we call this directly in this way, and in the server part, we use the call module function. Okay, remember that this label should be the same in order for the two parts of the module, user interface and server, to communicate. Okay, are there any question? Okay, I will move on. Let's accept all the changes before.
A good hint from Kevin that actually you can use on the GitHub repository. You can use the GitHub embedded diff between branches to basically see what has changed. That's a very good hint. Maybe you can quickly show it to everyone how it looks like. There is a link that Kevin was also kind to paste in the chat, Andrea.
Thank you, Kevin. I will. Kevin used this link. Okay, this is not really what we want to do. Okay. Yeah, I would like to show how to reach this page, but I don't remember actually right now.
You can scroll down so that because the actual leaves are down.